I'm just saying, I'll say it, and I'll do my little speech in English because, I've tortured you enough with my bad French, and Olivier has to work harder.
Okay.
Anyway, I thought I would start with, not with the program and the site and TVNZ and the history, but I'm going to talk about me. My name is Stephen Stehlin, and I don't look, that doesn't sound like a Samoan name, but it is. It's in fact a Swiss name. And on top of that, I have a title from my grandmother's village in Sangone in Savaii. So it is, we are the children of the colonizers. And so Samoa was a German colony. And that's why my great-great-great-grandparents went to Samoa. And then they married locally. And that's why, my grandmother's name, my great-grandmother's name was Afakasi. And she had a twin sister called Palangi because they had very fair skin. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you about Tagata Pasifika and how old it is. It's 36 years old. It was our only representation. There was another program before it, but it was the first program that was made by Pacific people for Pacific people. And in the early days, during the 70s and the 80s, the early 80s, the only time you saw Pacific people was on Crime Watch. And it was the same for Maori people as well. So it was a big step to go from a 5-minute daily program to a half-hour program. I was really pleased to read last night that Police 10-7 has gone. It's another show which is kind of like voyeuristic racism. It's always brown people. It's, maybe it's brown people chasing brown people, but it always gives the impression, and it's a false one, that everybody who is Polynesian or who is from the Pacific, who is Māori, is a criminal. It's just not right. In April, the program will be 36. So, just before I play that, Navak, this morning we put the program out on the site, and we broadcast it at the same time. So it was live on the site and on TVNZ1. So they're very excited about that because it was the first time to stream straight into the site and also have a terrestrial broadcast. I thought I'd play the first clip, which is a look back. It's just a little story with our pioneers. I wasn't the first. I stayed the longest. So we're going to hear from the first presenters. And est-ce que tu peux jouer le clip 2? Oui.
A trip down memory lane for Tagata Pasifika's first host.
We have a very special guest today. He's Tupua Tamasese Efi, who was Prime Minister of Samoa between 1976 and 1984. Talafalawa Tupua. I understand that universal suffrage
What do you think?
may be a reality for Samoa pretty soon.
Long time ago.
Intending to do this.
Wonderful.
The weekly show first aired on the 4th of April in 1987 as the Pan-Pacific Voice on New Zealand television.
It was just the most exciting journey that we were going to take, because I have watched the white man, white people, other people, but never us telling our own stories. When they were told from a white man's perspective, how they see us. So when I got on our first program, I made sure that we were different. I didn't deliberately do it. That's just the way I was. Coloured clothes, summer right through the whole year, and flowers in my ear. I just wanted people to know this is going to be our people's program.
By 1987, Pacific people were well on the way to being woven into the fabric of New Zealand society.
From the very start, Tagata Pasifika was a news and information show for the community, and radio broadcasters like the Reverend Malingi Evile played a key role.
There was a growing number of Pacifica people in the country, in New Zealand, and obviously there was a lot of events happening around the Pacific that our people need to know. So the program was more or less bifocal, in the sense that I was telling our people what is happening out there at home, in your country and your home. And I was also telling the New Zealand community that this is what is happening out there in our homes in the Pacific. You know, so that is why it was extremely important.
Say what? Ladies beware. Tell me if you are down.
And as our people continued to come to Aotearoa, the half-hour show played an important role in helping them settle in and feel like they belonged here.
I was very appreciative to think that it's about time that we have some small window on the screen of TV New Zealand. And I was hoping that this window will transform into a door and perhaps into a room and even a big house for bigger things to come for the Pacific people.
And over the years, Tagata Pasifika has moved through different time slots and faces have come and gone. But through it all, viewers have remained loyal.
Pacific people who had their consciousness about ensuring that the Pacific voice and face was seen and heard. We weren't that far off to the Dawn Raids, the Polynesian Panthers. That was just in the previous decade. You know, so while I thank TVNZ for their foresight, I think even more so to people who lobbied for this program.
In 2014, TVNZ announced that the show will no longer be made in-house, and the following year, Tagata Pasifika was made by production company Sunpix Limited.
Tagata Pasifika is reflective of our Pacific peoples, and it's been there on that journey for many people in their lives. We've got people now who are in policy making and politics or teaching in all different spheres of influence who grew up watching this TV program, and people come to the show to see stories that they're not hearing or seeing elsewhere. So the legacy is that it's kind of this trusted source of storytelling about our people.
Now, 35 years on, with a wide variety of media to choose from, Tagata Pasifika continues to play a role, not just on our TV screens, but also online, where more content is available. But it's always been a dream for more time on air.
We started off with half an hour. Perhaps give us another 15 minutes on air, or perhaps give us another extra half hour. You know, we need a bit more frequency on air, you know, and we need more support.
Support for a trusted source of news in this information age.
No matter whether you have your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever, Facebook, the people of our Pacific always go to watch Tagata Pasifika to get the real story.
Voilà. Donc, ce n'est pas une question maintenant de... Oh, what am I speaking French for? It's... we don't have to... we don't need more time. We just need more variety. And I'm just so thrilled that Lisa's built the CocoNet, that there is just a whole generation of program makers. And really, I'd like to congratulate TVNZ, by appointing Avec into a very senior position. That's made a difference for us. And I have some notes here. Where are they? Oh yeah. So it's always been a pathway for young people to get into the industry. That's good and frustrating at the same time, because we can't keep our people. Of course they're going to do much bigger and greater things, but you've got to start somewhere. And, we were pioneers with the Tagata Pasifika films, which was our first foray into drama. And Lisa wrote two. She was a very good writer. And so she wrote two films. And so she got two films funded. And then there were four others, and from different island groups. And that's the other thing about New Zealand. It's not just one island. There's about 7 major groups, except Tahiti, except c'est quoi Maui Nui? Je veux dire, Polynésie française, Maui Nui. I don't know what the new name for Tahiti and French Polynesia will be, but it will be something like that, I'm sure. We've always witnessed huge moments in history. When the King of Tonga died, the old king, Tupou the Fourth, we're up to Tupou the Sixth, so it was a few kings ago. And we did not have a lot of equipment, but we were able to share that with the Pacific. And we have a very warm relationship with TNTV. Thank you, Matiata, for the stories about COVID that you so beautifully shared with us. And I'm very grateful for that. One of the moving things for me, I think for the whole Pacific people, and particularly Samoans, Tongans, and people who are not realm countries are Tokelau, Niue, and Cook Islands. They have New Zealand citizenship, and all the others have to go through an immigration process. So you've heard about the dawn raids, and then the government recognized that a grave injustice had happened in the 70s and 80s. They were invading homes early in the morning and even asking Maori people for their identification. Can you imagine what that was like? So I never thought that that Jacinda Ardern would apologize, but she did. But here's some reaction to the apology. So that's clip 3.
Today we went to church, and when the service finished, my dad was hurrying us up to bring him here to meet up with the rest of his senior citizens group. So they're here to support the fellow Tongan members that were here in the 70s. They were part of the Dawn Raid. My dad, he's not disabled, but he can't walk far distance. But to see him get off and cross the road to be here, it's very emotional, but very good.
as a generation, we are so blessed to be able to live in this time where we can witness it live. I think generational curses and trauma does affect us, even though we don't see it directly. But even hearing stories of my uncle when they first moved to New Zealand and how they didn't know that things were done wrong to them, they just kind of accepted it. It was hard for me to hear as a young Tongan. So I think it's just a blessing that we get to be here to witness it and be part of the healing.
Are your family members here present today to be able to see them?
No, yeah, they're not. Some of them took it to the grave. So, but I'm glad I'm here. So I'll be standing along everyone else, and it's so beautiful seeing our Pacific community show up for today as well.
My family, my family members, some of them have been raided in the past during the time of the dawn raids. I know for some people, some of them haven't really come out because of the traumatizing experience. But I know for sure when the apology does happen, some of them will gain healingness and forgiveness, hopefully. Yeah.
I know personally for me, I didn't really find out about the dawn raid until probably late in my teenage years. So I think today's been a long time coming. It's only the first step to so much more to let our people heal.
I think I wanted my son to know that he was here. I wanted my wife to know, to be here to support. I mean, it's a huge acknowledgement by the government. Yeah, I just wish they'd opened the doors. I think having a closed event is it's not our way. It's not what our communities do. Why do you close it? Everyone should be allowed in, and everyone's voices should be heard. I don't know. So it kind of, for me, it's better to be outside.
Today, I stand on behalf of the New Zealand Government to offer a formal and unreserved apology to Pacific communities for the discriminatory implementation of the immigration laws of the 1970s that led to the events of the dawn raids.
I wish the government can go further, to do the right to the wrongs that happened. Why don't they should have at least the opportunity for them to give an amnesty for overstays, not just Pacifica people, but everybody who is currently an overstayer here. It would have been a very good, positive message. I know they are giving out fundings and education, and that is really good because, dawn raids should be taught in our schools and things. Because racism and discrimination is still happening, It's an ongoing thing.
The honest truth is, we've got Pacific Islanders from the top to the bottom of Aotearoa. I think it's important that we're learning everyone else's history worldwide. We've got to bring it right back here to home. So everything starts at home, so we need to learn what's happened in our own backyards.
We're hoping to hear a lot of, not just an apology, just words, but stuff that needs to be put into action.
And a good change for our people, because they've been longing for this apology. So it'll be good to hear, everything that they want, and that'll actually action it instead of just saying it.
I think everything happens at the right time. I think everything, the lead up to the apology had to happen in order for us to be here now to openly receive the apology. Whether it's going to fix anything, whether an apology fixes what has happened, I don't know. But I think it is a opening door to helping us as Pacific people to heal the trauma that we've experienced.
That was much too long, sorry. But it wasn't actually broadcast, that one. That was just online, because we would never put something that long on Tagata Pasifika, because it's more like news. Good. Great moments of history, yeah. What have I said? I've already told you about the explosion of Pacific filmmakers, and maybe Lisa, you and I, maybe you can explain to everybody the Moana strategy that sits outside of the broadcasters, that sits outside the funders, that represents the Pacific filmmakers and the Pacific video content creators, because we need to follow New Zealand Māori and assert our Polynesian and our Pacificness. Even that word Pacific, we're tending towards to say the people of the Moana rather than Pacific, which was a name given, a Portuguese name, I think, which was given to this vast ocean which connects us. And the final point is exactly the same that everybody this morning was saying. Where is our audience? Well, they're not watching TV. They are online, and we just have to find a way to connect with them. And probably that's a pretty good segue into Lisa. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Okay. Merci beaucoup. Maururu. Thank you very much.